Hello, I'm Michele Economou Ureste, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Joining me today is Dennis Kolar, the Managing Director of the Road Commission for Oakland County. This is the second segment of the Road Show, and our topic of discussion today is Proposal 1. Dennis, can you tell us a little bit about the Road Commission for Oakland County and how it is structured?
Sure, Michelle, I'll be happy to. I'm sure a lot of the viewers don't realize that the Road Commission is a separate agency, separate from the general county government. And thereby we receive our funding from different sources, not from property taxes or anything like that. Our connection to the county government is that the 3 road commissioners are appointed to 6-year terms by the county commissioner. So if there is a link, that's the one. Right now at the Road Commission we have about 378 employees, and that's down from our high water mark of 556 in 2007, and a result of reduced funding. And we have 2,700 miles of roads to take care of. So that number of employees, 378, are fewer than we had in the early 60s.
It's been very informative. How large is the Oakland County road system?
We're the second largest road system next to MDOT, and we have 2,700 miles of roads. And really what a lot of people don't realize is 770 of them are still gravel. Mm-hmm. And that's a significant, well, as you know, you still have some in West Bloomfield. They're a challenge with the amount of cars that use it.
Absolutely. How does Michigan rank in the nation for funding when it comes to healthcare, education, welfare, and the roads?
Well, actually for health, education, and welfare, we've done fairly well over the years. But if you look at the per capita spending, local and state, what we invest in transportation, we've been in the bottom 10 since the 1960s. And the last data, census data in 2010, we're the bottom. We're number 50th, and that's something I think we need to take a hard look at.
Mm-hmm. What are the current road pavement conditions, and how have they changed since 2006?
I know we're going to put up a map that will show what the condition of the Road Commission's network was in 2006. And the reason we chose that is really that was a high watermark. If you remember the 1997 gas tax increase, we used that, we dedicated all that for surface improvement, but because the costs of things continued to rise and funding was declining at the same time, 2005 was the last year that we had what we call our preservation overlay program, where we did significant resurfacing. So in 2006, we had a system that was in, if you look at the map, green and yellow, yellow's fair, green is good, and red are roads that are in poor shape. Now there's a whole rating system that's nationally accepted. We rate them from 0 to 10, 0 being poor, 10 being good. And if you look at 2014, you'll see a dramatic difference in the color on the map. And as you can see, there's a significant amount of red. And it's pretty much throughout the whole county. We haven't discriminated against one township or another.
Very good. What is Proposal 1, and what specific guarantees are there?
Well, what Proposal 1 does, and it's a constitutional amendment, to raise the sales tax from 6% to 7%. Now there's a number of bills that are tie-barred to that do a number of things. It will remove the sales tax on gasoline and remove the current 19 cents a gallon fuel tax. It takes that away and converts it to a wholesale rate. But what it does is it guarantees that every penny that you pay after October 1st, every penny you pay at the pump will go to roads. Was just a few weeks ago there was some polling done, and asked people as they were filling up if they thought that all the taxes they were paying for gasoline were going for transportation. And 80% of them said they thought so, when in reality in Michigan that doesn't happen. And I think Proposal 1, it changes that, and it guarantees it. It also guarantees that money that goes for schools and money that will go to local government for revenue sharing, That's all guaranteed, can't take it away. And the legislators were listening to a lot of the citizens out there that were demanding warranties. So what will happen is projects that are over $1 million in scope or cost, the contractors will be required to provide a warranty.
Okay, how does Proposal 1 impact other transportation and other public agencies?
Well, I guess a little bit more detail on what I was just talking about. If we take the 19 cents away and the sales tax off of fuel, convert it to 14.9% at the wholesale level, what that means is the gas tax would now be 41.7 cents a gallon. And diesel will change, so diesel fuel is 15 cents a gallon right now. We'll go up to 46.4. So in case where those who want trucks to pay more, they certainly will. I see we put the graph up, and I think that's a good graph to show what Proposal 1 does. On the left, it shows the current 19-cent gas tax, and the orange on top is the 6% sales tax. That 6% sales tax goes to schools and local governments like West Bloomfield. Once you remove that, you have to, or you should, replace it, and that's the reason for the increase in the sales tax. And also, some other pieces of the legislation, there is a floor. Even though it's based on a wholesale rate, there's a floor. As I mentioned, gasoline would be 41.7 cents the tax, and it can't go lower than that. But there's also a ceiling on it, so the tax cannot go up more than the rate of inflation or 5%, whatever is less. And kind of the ironic thing about it, in 1997, had the gas tax been indexed, today we wouldn't be sitting here, because it would have generated about 1.2 billion more, and that's the number that we're looking for.
Understood. How does Proposal 1 impact taxpayers?
Well, obviously first it impacts it by raising the sales tax from 6 to 7%. And at the pump, you're going to probably see, and again, it's going to depend on what the price of fuel is in October. We were saying 4 cents. I read yesterday in the news 7 cents, but somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on what the price of fuel is. There's some other pieces to the legislation. The earned income tax credit, there's $260 million for that to expand it. There's a registration fee change that currently when you buy a vehicle, your registration fee decreases by 10% every year for the first 3 years. Well, one of the laws that are tie-barred to this passing will change that, and now whatever your registration fee is starting October 1 when you buy a new vehicle, it will remain that. And we're also getting the hybrid cars will have, as I call it, some skin in the game at $25 more a year in registration fees. And if it's a plug-in or a plug-in hybrid, they'll pay an additional $75.
Does Proposal 1 place any additional responsibility on the trucking industry?
Well, absolutely, Michelle. As I've been going around the past few years talking about road funding, I often hear that from the audience that trucks need to pay more, and I think the legislators heard that. And as I mentioned earlier, their tax, the diesel tax, will go from 15 cents a gallon to 46.4 cents. So that's a significant increase. And for trucks that are 25,000 pounds or heavier, they're going to see a registration fee increase of about 34%. So they're certainly going to be paying more of their share.
How does Proposal 1 impact the Road Commission for Oakland County?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm sure it's many that your viewers are wanting to hear. In year 1, be $14 million additional for the Road Commission. In year 2, $27 million. And in year 3, $41 million. Now, the reason that it's stepped like that is that part of the law uses money from this. 1.2 billion is what it generates. In year 1, $400 million will go through the formula to which we receive. and the remainder will go to MDOT to retire debt. And in year 2, $800 million goes through this formula, and the remainder goes to MDOT to retire debt. Now, that's a good thing. MDOT, over the years, and in the state, we chose to borrow money or bond to try to get the system in good shape. So now it's time to pay the bill. Right now, I believe MDOT, I heard, spends about $200 million a year just on their debt service. So it's a good thing that it's phased in, but we're pretty excited at the Road Commission. If this does pass, we can show that we can do a lot of work.
How does Michigan compare with other states in terms of sales tax?
That's another good question, because I get that asked often as well. So we have the chart up, and it shows you that with our neighbors going to 7%, short of Wisconsin, who's at 5%, and I have to note that Wisconsin has a 30-cent a gallon gas tax and has for a number of years. But short of Wisconsin, it would put us pretty much equivalent with the rest of our neighbors.
Very good. Well, thank you. This has been very informative. I greatly appreciate you joining us today for the second segment of the Road Show. Thank you for watching.